So talking about unemployment, this issue has been present in South Africa even before COVID, but the apparition of the virus did aggravate the issue. As I mentioned, unemployment is more related though to a substandard education system that does not prepare their citizens with a good enough skill set. But President Ramaphosa is trying to lower unemployment since he allocated about 13 billion rand to creating job opportunities. It's important to note also that in 2020, a protest called by the Congress of South African Trade Unions, which is the country's largest labor group, was called to talk about problems such as job losses, inadequate public transport, corruption, and state spending curbs. Now to talk a little bit about poverty and inequality, according to the Department of Statistics in South Africa, around 49% of the population have an income of $70 or less. And according to the CIA's World Factbook, the Gini coefficient in South Africa is one of the highest, meaning that there is a lot of difference between the richest and the poorest within the country. So this can create social discontent, especially if the government is known for corruption, since the citizens are witness of the crimes that put them in that position. So when reviewing the Global Peace Index and the score that South Africa got, we can see that their score is medium. So they are probably not witnessing very extreme violence, but some protests can be expected, like the one mentioned of unemployment. So now we'll be talking about corruption, and unfortunately, South Africa does have some history with this issue, especially during the presidency of Jacob Zuma. As of right now, President Cyril is trying to eradicate his legacy. Some arrests have been made to important businessmen, bureaucrats, etc. So we know that Cyril has some initiative towards dismantling this corrupt behavior, but has been faced some opposition by the African National Congress, who protect people like Jacob Zuma that are corrupt. So when analyzing the corruption perception index, the score does match up, since we know the history and the protection that corrupt people receive. To talk a little bit about FDI now, the government is actually really open to the idea of it. They have implemented some incentives such as simple tax rules, the protection of intellectual property, and regulation policies regarding competition, yet no changes have been noticed since their FDI has not increased. This can be attributed to maybe some mediocre economic indicators and also their slow reform agenda, which can put off investors. Also, their doing business score is almost passing, which can result not as attractive and show some of the weaknesses of working with South Africa. So now focusing more in the actual industry, the sales are expected to rise up to 95 million by 2025, which demonstrates that the industry is actually really attractive. But it's also important to acknowledge the fact that the market shares are controlled by two big retailers called Dis-Chem and Clicks pharmacies. They have been in the South African market for more than 20 years, so they know the consumer really well. They offer the best prices, they have the best locations, and they actually have been buying out smaller retailers that couldn't keep up with the competition. It's important to know also that the government is thinking about opening a state-owned pharmacy, so this could change the dynamics of market share in the future in case that the project it is carried on. So the research showed that the unemployment is very high right now, and this has a direct impact in the consumer behavior. The company will have to enter the market with very competitive prices and could still struggle to see the payback of their investment, especially now that consumers only buy when necessary. Also, their competition is more able to withstand the hardships associated with a bad economic climate because they have more experience, and also they have a better top of mind with the consumer. We know that President Cyril is trying to lower unemployment, but we also know that his actions take some time to be reflected, especially since some people inside of his political party have different goals than him. We also know that Cyril is against corruption, but this practice is still pretty common, so the company could face some issues regarding that. But overall, entering South Africa would be easy since the government is open towards FDI. However, the company would probably see benefits until 2024, when it is predicted that the economy will stabilize again. But this cannot be assured since we know that the reform agenda is cataloged as slow.